Hello underachievers. So I was planning on making this video a while ago, but I was planning on making it a piss take. But then I realized it was a topic that I never really talked to you guys about, which is odd, considering, you know, I've documented my entire transition, and I think it was a bit weird that I've never really talked about my gender dysphoria, in particular considering my gender dysphoria is what made me transition. If you're new here and you don't know what gender dysphoria is, it's literally just feeling uncomfortable with your birth sex. It's what makes people trans. Contrary to popular belief, we don't just decide to be a boy one day, or be a girl one day, or be non-binary one day. It's literally all, like, motivated by gender dysphoria. And yeah, I know my hair looks shit, and I look sweaty, and I'm tired. So just gonna start this off by saying that since transitioning, my gender dysphoria has got a lot better, but I kind of want to take you through my entire life story. Okay, obviously not, but I'm kind of going to bring you through the journey of my experience with gender dysphoria, and obviously that started when I was young. So looking back in my childhood, I obviously experienced gender dysphoria. I remember the exact feeling of gender dysphoria, but obviously I didn't know it was dysphoria. I just thought I was a bit, like, weird. And I was a bit weird, but you know. And a lot of people would probably think that since I was a child I wouldn't really have any issues with my body or with, like, society seeing me as a girl because I was a kid and kids don't give a shit about that. But an example of gender dysphoria I had as a kid was that I had bottom dysphoria, so I would pack with Play-Doh. I would literally roll up bits of Play-Doh and make a dick out of it. And back then I didn't know that balls were a thing, so it was literally just a dick. I also told my mum at a young age that I wanted a boy haircut because I hated having a girl haircut so much. And of course my parents were lovely and they're like, yeah, sure, you want a boy haircut? We'll get you a boy haircut. So for the majority of my life, I've had a boy haircut. Another thing I remember was that whenever my mum tried to take me into the girls section of, like, H&M, I would cry. I didn't know why I hated girls' clothes so much. I genuinely thought it was because I thought I was a boy. Obviously, I was like 5, so I didn't really think about it that much. All I knew was that I wanted a boy haircut, I wanted boy clothes, I wanted to look like a boy, and I wanted people to think I was a boy. I used to tell kids at the playground that I was a boy and that my name was Alex, and obviously the kids had no reason to not believe me because I looked like a boy, and why would I lie to them saying that I was a boy when I was a girl? That would be weird. I was so convincing that girls would literally chase me around the playground in Kiss Chase and try and kiss me because they thought I was a boy. And I'm not gonna lie, I did like it at the time, and it wasn't because I was into girls, because I wasn't. I've always been into boys. But having girls chase me and be attracted to me made me feel more like a man. Because obviously, at the age of, like, 6, I didn't realize that people could be gay. I just thought that girls liking you meant you're a boy. So the last point I want to raise about my childhood dysphoria was, when I was around the age of 10, I looked like this. Some girl in my year told me that if I was actually a boy, that she would have a crush on me. And obviously I didn't like her like that because I'm not into girls, but just the thought that someone would be like, yeah, you'd be an attractive guy, to just validated me. So let's talk about the proper gender dysphoria that I experienced when I realized I was trans. So I know different trans people have varying levels of dysphoria, and my dysphoria was very extreme. It was very bad. It was something I thought about every day. It was something I could never get over, and the only way I could get over that was medically transitioning. So I thought I would literally just go from head to toe and tell you what I was dysphoric about. So my head is very small. It's smaller than average. If you look at me, I look like I have a small head. Now, statistically, females have smaller heads, so me having a small head, I feel like that makes me look more feminine. I've always wanted a big head, you know, like a big head that could fit, like, big hats on, but I don't have that. And that makes me dysphoric, obviously, because small head in my mind equals girl. It shouldn't, but it does. Coming down from that, my eyebrows aren't very bushy. I've got little eyebrows, again, feminine to me. Down from that, I have a very little face. I don't have much chin, I don't have much jaw. I don't have as much as I want. Again, typically, that's a female trait, so not great. Down from that, I've got my neck. I never had an Adam's apple, and my Adam's apple, I have one now, but it's quite small, so, you know, dysphoria. And now we're talking about throat. My voice was very high. It's still not that low, but, like, my voice was very high, and that made me dysphoric because girls have high voices. Coming down from that is shoulders. My shoulders are not very broad. Guys have broader shoulders. Girls usually have less broad shoulders. So my shoulders have always been a point of dysphoria for me because they're not as wide as I want them to be. Obviously, down from that is my titties. I used to have them, and that was dreadful. I remember my mum having the puberty talk with me and one of my best friends when I was a kid, and she told us that we would start growing boobs, and I genuinely thought that would never happen to me. Literally, I thought, I don't want to grow boobs, I never want to have boobs, I want a deep voice, so I'm just not going to grow boobs. Obviously that didn't happen, and when I did grow boobs, I was very uncomfortable with them. I remember starting senior school and everyone was wearing tight Hollister tots because, like, that's what was in. And I never understood how people could be so comfortable with having, like, breasts. And I thought maybe it was just a part of puberty, like, hey, everybody gets uncomfortable when they go through puberty because their body's changing. But I was repulsed by my own chest, which is not something that's normal, obviously gender dysphoria. Down from chest is, well, not down from chest, also in that area is my torso. So I'm a skinny guy, I've always been skinny, I'm trying to gain weight, and I have gained weight, I've gained a lot of weight, but I have a very small waist, and that's just how my body is. My ribs don't go very low, so I've got like a pinched waist, which I hate because it makes me feel more feminine, because it creates more of an hourglass figure, which I don't want. And this is genuinely like one of the worst parts of the dysphoria. Like, a lot of it revolved around this. Because even though my hips aren't very big, they became a source of dysphoria because my waist was so small, it would make my hips look bigger. And obviously, childbearing hips is a womanly trait. I had never considered ever carrying a child, so I don't need childbearing hips. Not fun. Out from hips and waist is obviously the private parts. I've always had an issue with this, and I remember being younger and learning about sex and literally thinking I would never be able to do that because I was so uncomfortable with those parts. I've always had bottom dysphoria. When I was a child, my dysphoria centered around not having a dick because I didn't have like tits, didn't have hips because I hadn't started puberty. But yeah, bottom dysphoria sucks. Literally feel like I've got a phantom limb, like I'm missing something. It feels like it's been chopped off. That's the only way I can describe it. Down from that, I've always felt like I've had girly legs. I know this sounds ridiculous, but gender dysphoria is kind of ridiculous. Like, it's not, but it is. But yeah, I've always felt like I've had girly legs. I have very small kneecaps, and I have a knee condition. I don't know what it's called. It's hard to say. But I have very small kneecaps, and they're very weak, which, you know, makes me feel uncomfortable. I also never used to have that much leg hair, which also made me uncomfortable because I didn't want to look like I was hairless, because that made me feel girly. And finally, we have the feet. I'm a size 6 UK men, which I think is a size 8 in America. But it's not big. I don't have big feet. I wish I had bigger feet. But also, I guess I'm kind of lucky because I can fit a 5 or a 5.5 if I squish my feet in, and that means I can get kids' shoes, which are a lot cheaper. Obviously, going down my body, I probably forgot about some stuff. Oh yeah, I've got skinny noodle arms, and I don't want that. Also missed out the butt. My butt is very big and very round. It literally looks like a shelf, so it makes wearing clothes harder because they look tight even if they're not tight. Also, my thighs are big, and not in a fat way, but in a muscle way, but that makes me feel more girly because girls have more thigh area. So yeah, that's the dysphoria that I started off with. Since transitioning, obviously, a lot of that dysphoria has gone because that's the point of transitioning. If you're not trying to alleviate dysphoria, what are you doing? So now, my head is still too small, that's an issue. But at least my voice is lower. I pass as a male when I talk, which is great. It's great.
Oh yes, baby. Feel this.
My shoulders have gotten a lot wider. My torso has completely changed shape, which I'm very happy about.
Hell yeah.
My waist is definitely filled in. It's still a big part of my dysphoria, and I know it's probably me seeing things that aren't there, but like that's just that. I'm still very uncomfortable with my legs, my leg shape. I've always just had like naturally like muscular legs and a muscular butt. I just like that area is just like bigger than the usual cis male. Which whatever, at least I pass now, so that's not as much of an issue. But yeah, since having my titties chopped off, I've been a lot more happy with my body overall because now I don't have to bind. And I don't have to worry about wearing clothes that will make it obvious that I'm wearing a binder. I can be shirtless whenever I want. It's just a general good time, and I'm feeling a lot happier. So I literally just want to say to people out there who think that they're never going to be able to transition or that they'll never be happier with themselves, that's not true at all. Obviously, everyone's circumstance is different. Some people will have less supportive family, and that really sucks. But if this is something that you need, it will happen. And it may feel like it's taking forever to happen, but it will happen because you'll make it happen. I remember first realizing I was trans and thinking that I would never be able to tell my family because I was too embarrassed, and maybe they'd be embarrassed of me and I'd be ashamed. I remember feeling like I'd never have the courage to transition medically because that would cause stress on my family and my friends, and it would be difficult for them to use my pronouns and my name. And thinking back, that's ridiculous because this is my life. I'm supposed to live it to the fullest, and I keep saying I don't really think there's a point to life, but if I'm living it, I may as well be as happy as possible, and transitioning has allowed me to actually be myself, has allowed me to be comfortable with myself. Obviously not completely, I still have bottom dysphoria, but you know, I can have sex. Because to me now, I'm a bottom, it's just a hole. Literally just a hole, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, genuinely, you can make it happen, and I know it sounds like, oh no, you've already made it happen, of course you're saying that, of course, like, you had it so easy. And yes, I'm lucky, I had it a lot easier than a lot of people, but I had it harder than a lot of people as well. Not everybody is the same, not everybody has the same experience. Just know that no matter how difficult it is now, it will become easier, and it will happen if you make it happen. But yeah, there's my speech. As me talking about gender dysphoria, please do not worry about me. Obviously, it sucks having gender dysphoria, but I feel like I probably made it sound like the end of the world. I'm a lot happier now, and I'm a functioning human being now because of medically transitioning. So, you can do that too. But yeah, that was the end of the video. Sorry if it was a bit like mishy-mashy? Sorry if it was a bit messy. I literally, I didn't want to plan this video or like write notes for it because I just wanted to like speak how I felt at the moment. But yeah, have a good day or don't. See you later, losers. Punch. Here's me punching out all your gender dysphoria. If you experience gender dysphoria, here is me destroying it.